Hello. Last week I started trying to read Matthew, in Spanish to regularly practice my Spanish, which is not that great. If you're on this Spanish journey with me, welcome. So I had some lovely feedback last week from some various people who actually know Spanish, and I wanted to correct some things I did. Of course, these are, well, not of course, but I should know better. These are things I've known at some point, but I, you know, things fall apart. Okay, so first of all, I want to review the kind of new thing that I learned last week, and that is había sido, had been, había sido, and the H is not pronounced. I realized as I was doing it last week that I was inconsistent. Sometimes I didn't pronounce the H, and sometimes I accidentally did. So getting back into it, don't pronounce H's at the beginning of Spanish words. Había sido. Also, I'd forgotten that J sounds like an H. So Jacob is not Jacob, it's Jacob. And I should have known this because of that wonderful church historian, Justo Gonzalez, whose name is Justo, Justo. So Jesus, it's a H, not a J sound or a Y sound or whatever. Mixes in with Hebrew and too many languages. Okay, so David. I think I did that a little bit, didn't I? David. And then mama. I don't know if I had the accent on it. I did papa correctly, but I didn't do mama correctly. And there were probably some other errors, but those are some of the main corrections from last week. Okay, Mateo uno del siete al nueve. So my friend Joanne Solis Walker told me that this is the standard way of, and I wouldn't write it that. I'm writing it there to help me practice it. Mateo uno del siete al nueve. Matthew 1 from verses 7 to 9. Okay, so we got to verse 6 last week. Okay, so let's go ahead, and I'm going to butcher it. Do not take my word for it. I am going to try. I use the NVI, which is the Spanish version, Nuevo, Internacional, the V, version, I don't know what the V is. I need to look it up. But I used one version last week. This week I switched to the Spanish version of the NIV, the NVI. Okay, so Salomón, padre de Roboam. So padre means father. We had papa last week in the kind of, it was a more lower level literacy, or what do you say, grade level, lower, they rate grade levels of translations and reading and so forth. So it was a lower level. So the NVI is a slightly higher reading level. Padre, father, father of Rehoboam. Rehoboam, padre de Abias, padre de Asa. And again, the accent's on the second syllable, so that's where the stress should go. Okay, verse 8. Asa, padre de Josaphat with an H, right? Sound, not a J sound. Padre de Josaphat, padre de Horan, padre de Uzziah, right? Uzzias, padre de Hotan, padre de Akaz, padre de Ezekias. Okay, Hezekiah. Okay, I'm going to do quite a bit today, I think, because it's just names, and we've done most of it. Okay, I put it on to where it'll come out one by one. So Mateo 1 del 10 al... oh, good grief. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Sorry, 11. Mateo 1 del 10 al 11. Okay, Matthew 1 from verses 10 and 11. Actually, I think I have more verses than that on this slide. So, Ezekias, padre de Manasseh, the bad guy, the worst king of all Israel. Manasseh, padre de Ammon. I don't know if he's the worst king of Judah, but he's the one that is the reason why Israel went into exile. Manasseh, padre de Ammon. Ammon, padre de Josiah, the best king of Judah, according to First and Second Kings, even better than David in the world of First and Second Kings. Y Josías, padre de Jeconías, y de sus hermanos en tiempos de la deportación a Babilonia. Okay. And of course, if I was better at Spanish, these would all roll together. I've pronounced them separately because I'm a gringo. Y de sus hermanos and his brothers, de sus hermanos. Don't pronounce the H. And his brothers en tiempos, in the times de la deportación, of the deportation of Babylonia, to Babylon. Any ion word is feminine. Deportación. Okay, at the time of the deportation to Babylon. Después de, see, I was wrong. It goes beyond 11. Después de la deportación a Babilonia, Jeconías fue al padre de Salatiel, padre de Zorobabel. Okay, so después de, after the, this is an idiot, the de goes with después. Después de la deportación, after the deportation to Babylon, Jeconiah was, there's fue from last week, fue el padre de Salatiel, Salatiel, padre de Zorobabel, that is Zerubbabel, the one who took them back to Jerusalem and helped rebuild the temple. Zorobabel, padre de Abiud, padre de Eliakim, padre de Azor. Okay, names, but it's not till 11. Okay, I corrected till 13. Okay, last for today. So let me see if I can do it. Mateo 1 del 14 al 17. Okay, so Azor, padre de Zadok. So Hazor, the father of Zadok. Zadok, padre de Akin. Zadok, father of whoever that is. Akin, padre de Eliud. Akin, father of Eliud. Again, I don't remember who Akin is. Eliud, padre de Eleazar. Eleazar, padre de Matan. Matan, padre de Jacob. Okay. I assume this is Mathan, I believe. Jacob. Y Jacob, padre de José, que fue el esposo de María, de la cual nació Jesús, llamado el Cristo. So, and Jacob, father of Joseph, who was the spouse of Mary, the husband, who was the husband of Mary. So, que, here is who, a relative pronoun. Fue was el esposo, the husband, de María, of Maria. From whom, from, de la cual, from which, nació, Ignacio, no, nació means born, from whom Jesus was born. I believe this is the past tense, third person singular, probably preterite. Jesus, from whom Jesus was born, llamado, called the Christ. Llamado, 2 L's is a ya in Spanish, called the Christ. I think this is a participle, a past participle, called the Christ. Okay, so nació, I'm going to do a little quick research on nació. Yep, I'm going to go with preterite, third person singular, from which Jesus was born, called the Christ. Okay, one more verse for today, for this week. I only really intended to do about 5 verses a week, but this was a bunch of names. So let's just go ahead and get through the genealogies this week. Así que, and I'm never sure how to pronounce that, así que hubo en total 14 generaciones desde Abraham hasta David. 14 desde David hasta la deportación a Babilonia y 14 desde la deportación hasta el Cristo. So thus happened in total 14 generations from Abraham to David, 14 from David to the deportation to Babylon, and 14 from the deportation to the Christ. I think así que is like therefore, something like that. Ubo. Now, ubo I've seen before, but I forget what it was. It has to mean something like therefore there was. Let me do a quick research on ubo. Okay, ubo is the preterite of aber, sorry, aber, not haber, that's Latin, I'm Latin, messing me up, aber. So this is the preterite of aber in the third person singular, therefore had in total 14 generations, which is basically what I had the sense of it. So things for me to memorize for next, things that I either have known and forgotten or I need to memorize anew is nació, which is the preterite of the word to be born. And then I think nació is the word. And then I'll look it up. And then ubo is the preterite of haber, to have. So generaciones, notice I didn't pronounce that with a G, generaciones, desde Abraham hasta 14. By the way, 14, so in ancient languages, they didn't have separate symbols for numbers. And so you could take a person's name and instead of treating the letters as letters, you could treat the letters as numbers and add up, and you would have the number of someone's name. Of course, the most famous example of this is the beast in Revelation, whose name in some way adds up to 666. But you can do it with David. So Dalet, Aleph, Beit, Gimel, Dalet is a 4, and there are 2 4s in the name David in Hebrew. The vowels aren't there in Hebrew, so it's just DVD. So we have 2 4s, that makes 8, and then the V is a Vav, Aleph, Beit, Gimel, Dalet, Hey, Vav, 6. So 4 plus 6 plus 4 makes 14. So 14 is the number of David's name. And so the genealogy in Matthew 1 is arranged in such a way as to say, David, 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 which is a kind of subliminal or symbolic way of saying that Jesus is the son of David, the king, the Messiah, El Cristo. Well, this has been my attempt to refresh my Spanish brain. Next week, we'll go on to the birth in verse 18. All right.